right. Hey, good morning, friends. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine here with Ben at 10. We're on early, of course. It's 9:23, but we've got a lot to talk about. And the Storm Prediction Center has just increased our risk of severe weather, especially over southern Indiana, where we have a level 3 out of 5 in the severe weather risk categories. That's an enhanced risk of severe weather. So we're thinking probably mid-afternoon into the evening time, we'll see the threat of severe weather increase across the area as we hit the peak heating of today, as we hit abnormally warm highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. So we've got a lot of the ingredients for severe weather. Unfortunately, I was hoping it wouldn't be a big deal. Unfortunately, the data that keeps coming in is looking a little bit worse for us, as we've got a lot of wind shear. So that powers the thunderstorms and can help create damaging winds. You also have a turning with winds with height, and that's the shear and the differential with the wind direction that can promote spin and what we call helicity. So we have that, which the thunderstorms can ingest and produce a tornado threat. And then you just have some unstable air, as well as this warm front's going to lift into the area this afternoon, and that is going to help fuel these storms and potentially make them become severe. So all the severe weather threats that we talk about are on the table. Let me go ahead and bring up here the severe weather risk that was just released here, again, from the Storm Prediction Center. So that orange area right over much of southern Indiana is that level 3 out of 5. And then everywhere else, basically north of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways, up to even north of Indianapolis, under a slight risk of severe storms. Right now, I'm thinking around, that main time frame, that main threat around 3 p.m. until 9 p.m., give or take. Every once in a while, they kind of speed up. Every once in a while, they kind of slow down. But that's kind of the time frame here for today. And with any severe weather threat, we just remember to head inside, seek shelter in a safe place, lowest level of the home, away from doors and windows, right when that warning is issued. We stay calm, of course, but it is a good idea to make sure everything is charged up. You have maybe a first aid kit, maybe pillows and blankets, maybe some snacks ready to go in that place of shelter, just in case. Always better to be safe than sorry for a situation like this. So our first enhanced risk of severe weather in the year 2026 here on this February the 19th. So here is a look at our weather headlines here for our February the 19th. Again, 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. I'll be saying that a lot. I'll be saying a lot of stuff a lot just because I want for anybody tuning in at different points during our live stream to know what's going on. So strong wind, that means damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. That's your straight line wind that can do damage to trees and power lines. Won't be surprised if we get some power outages. And then we have the potential for some large hail, especially where if we see any tornado warnings, typically large hail and tornadic supercells go hand in hand. Also, the potential of some very heavy rainfall underneath some of these supercells that develop later on today. And frequent cloud to ground lightning are the issues. So this is one of the latest snapshots here from the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. This is one of the high definition models. They update every hour. This is a snapshot at 3 p.m. today, as the atmosphere could become a bit explosive for us again later on. So we're on earlier because of all that I want to talk about here today, but we're on earlier as well because I've actually got a speech that I'm giving to Leadership Southern Indiana a little bit later on this morning. So a couple reasons there. I'm going to break down here the threats that go along with an enhanced risk of severe weather. So let me go ahead and bring this up with our weather maps. And what you see here is the avocado that we don't like. That's the green on the outside. That's marginal. That's no big deal. That is south of the parkways. We don't have as many ingredients for severe weather in those areas. And again, I'll get to some of your comments and questions here in just a second as well. Feel free to let us know where you're watching from. If you're new to the program, this has been at 10, our daily weather show, Monday through Friday, right here on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine. Thanks for liking, following, sharing, subscribing to our YouTube live stream as well. That's Extol Media on YouTube or extolmag.com/weather on the World Wide Web. So who is in the enhanced risk, the brand new enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk from the Storm Prediction Center? By the way, the Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service that looks across the entire United States and sees where severe weather might happen. And you can see that unfortunately, we are the bullseye this time of the round. Thankfully, it's not moderate risk or high risk, but I've seen a busted moderate risk. I've seen a slight risk do more problems than a moderate risk before. So either way, we're just prepared and we all know what to do if a warning is issued. I would not be surprised if we get a tornado watch by early afternoon for parts of our area. So as we look at this, who is under the enhanced risk, the higher threat? Right on the edge of that is Madison, Indiana, up through North Vernon and Jennings County. This goes to around Columbus, Indiana, including Bloomington. So within our general viewing area, this includes Lagodi over to Jasper, just north of 64. It includes Paoli, Orange County, Bedford, and Lawrence County, Salem and Washington County, northern Clark County, western Jefferson County in Indiana, Scott County. So you got Austin, Crothersville, Scottsburg, Seymour, Brownstown, Mitchell. All these areas are under that enhanced risk. Now that's an extra weather aware, an extra eye on the sky in that orange area for the potential severe storms this afternoon. Again, around 3 p.m. until 9 p.m., I think. And then you still have the yellow area. That's the slight risk. That's level 2 out of 5. It's just a little bit lower risk, but there's still that potential there. It's kind of a buffer zone around the bullseye of severe storms. So we've got, again, the ingredients including unstable air, the CAPE, the fuel. You've got strong winds, a low-level jet, a warm front. You've got a couple different kickers. So sometimes you don't have something to kick up the storms. Well, we got the warm front, we got a low-level jet, we've got a jet stream flying over us, we've got very strong winds aloft. You've got wind energy. You also have turning winds, so that means wind shear. That can promote tornadic activity. We've got the ingredients is basically the moral of the story here. So let's look from the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook. This is the tornado threat. So that has been increased to a 10% risk in the enhanced area. And outside of that, Louisville and along 64 up to Indianapolis, the brown area, that is a 5% risk of a tornado. But in the yellow area, that's 10%. So that means within a 25-mile circle, anywhere in that yellow area, there's a 10% chance of a tornado. A tornado is a rare thing to happen, so it's always kind of a low threat. But if we're going to see it, it looks like there's a better chance in that yellow area. And notice Highway 50 from North Vernon to Seymour to Bedford over to Vincennes is kind of in the middle of that bullseye area. So that is the tornado threat. The hail threat, that's a little bit larger area. That's basically almost the entire slight risk area. There is the potential, especially like I just mentioned, when you get a supercell that can possibly become tornadic, a mesocyclone that has some spin to it, that typically has the potential for large hail. They really go hand in hand. So this is kind of a spring-like setup as we head into the low 70s this afternoon. It's not going to be terribly windy ahead of the warm front. South winds at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. The damaging wind threat, similar area to the slight risk and similar area to the hail threat. Significant tornado threat. Now, this is a little more important. This is in that enhanced area that we're talking about. So this does show the potential for some stronger tornadoes, unfortunately. Significant hail threat. The SPC doesn't have that there, and no significant wind threat. So that is something that is a little bit more alarming. There is, again, from the Storm Prediction Center, a zone where there is the potential for a significant tornado. So things have leveled up here this morning with the latest data that's coming in. We're also going to take a look and time it out with the high resolution data. The HRRR, you've probably heard about it if you watch the show, the high resolution rapid refresh weather model and the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. They update again about every hour, and they give us some of the most fresh weather model data. So again, we'll start cooking with that here in just a second. Going to look at a few comments here. We'll repeat if you miss anything too. And we'll probably be going on here until about 10:15 to 10:30 this morning. So David Crumster, thanks for watching this morning. John Fox, we were on a little bit earlier. Emmanuel, good morning to you. And Kyle, we just talked about that Southern Indiana tornado threat. Hopefully I answered your question there. Perry Porter, good morning. We got the big happy. Unfortunately, Probably should be the Grumpy Cat coffee cup with our first significant severe weather threat for today. Emmanuel says, helmet's ready, basement is ready. There you go. Always good to be ready just in case. And I'm probably picking my daughter up early just in case. I mean, that's a good point. I hate to see that the threat has sped up. I'm saying, it could begin around 3 p.m. That's right when school is being let out. Not a good time frame there. I mean, it's never a good time frame for severe weather. Overnight's bad because a lot of people sleep through it and can't get to their place of shelter. Just don't want it, when the kids are getting out and the buses are going. It brings back PTSD of March 2nd, 2012. This isn't as bad of a setup, but just the timing is kind of very similar. Orlean Whitlow, 59 in Hodgenville, getting some rain there this morning. And David Kroom, thanks for tuning in. Cody Blankenship, thanks for tuning in here this morning. Debbie Lappin, thanks for watching. Debbie kind of disagree. I'm not sure what you're disagreeing with there. We got a lot of clouds here too, but they'll likely scour out a bit. Karen Sturgeon, thanks for tuning in this morning. Erica, by the way, if you didn't hear yesterday, thanks for that donation to the Polar Plunge. Much appreciated. Carolyn Calfhammer, good morning to you. Bertha Turner with a good morning. And Janet Berry, thanks for tuning in here this morning as well. So a lot to cover here. If you're tuning in, we're on a bit earlier than usual. Here is something I shared yesterday but makes this kind of very simple to understand, I hope. And this is how thunderstorms work. So thunderstorms are rising currents of air and actually have convection where the air goes up and then it goes down. And where it goes down, that's your downdraft. That's your where you have microbursts, where you have damaging straight line winds on the front flank of the storms. And then on the backside, you've got the updraft and the turning of winds and the potential of a tornado in those areas where you might see a wall cloud, where you might see a lowering of the thunderstorms. So they behave in a system. And on the right side, you got your rising bread, or you need the right ingredients for the yeast to work, or maybe the baking soda. So if you don't have the exact right recipe, you're not going to get a big outbreak of severe weather. There are portions of our area that have the right recipe, unfortunately. That's in southern Indiana. Areas south you go, farther south in Kentucky, you're losing some of the ingredients, and so not expecting the outbreak in those areas. And again, we're going to be covering a lot here if you're just tuning in this morning. Judy Boulder, you're watching from Hanover, Indiana, Southwestern Middle School. Thanks for the weather update. You're very welcome. And let's get to a look at, let's go her weather model, NAM weather model. We'll time it out, and then we'll get into more of the nuts and bolts of our normal forecast show. But right off the bat, if you're tuning in, I know what you're probably wanting to look at here. And so let's get right to that. So this is the enhanced, in the enhanced area from the Storm Prediction Center is also a significant tornado threat. So that is around Madison to Salem to Paoli to near Jasper, up north to Lagodi to Bedford, Mitchell. You're talking about Livonia, Paoli, French Lick, Seymour, Brownstown, Mitchell, if I didn't already mention you, North Vernon, Scottsburg, Austin, Crothersville, and spaces in between with that higher potential of severe weather for today. Now, let's get to the future radar. And let me fire up the HRRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh Weather Model. So notice out west, we're already starting to see some storms firing up out towards St. Louis. And again, unfortunately, we have to blame a warm front for this. This time of the year, we don't just get to enjoy the warm weather. It often comes with a price, unfortunately. This is at around 2 p.m. today. It is showing just a couple of these pop-up showers. That is not severe at that point in time. And this is the latest. So I'm going to show you a couple different versions here, and we'll see what fires up with these latest models. This is at 3 p.m. today. So here's what we don't want to see. And these are what we call discrete supercells. And when they are on their own, they can spin like a top. So you see this starting to develop here around 4 p.m. Now, give or take, the models aren't perfect. But if you get these discrete supercells, that's a bad deal. And then look up towards I-70. That's why the slight risk goes all the way up towards Indianapolis, because we got some clusters of storms up that direction. You see a lot less happening south of Louisville. You get south of Louisville, really south of Elizabethtown, you're out of the slight risk of severe storms. So there we go. Again, isolated discrete supercells, not our friend. Worse than if you had a kind of a squall line. A squall line might impact more people with strong winds, but these discrete supercells can spin and have a higher likelihood of large hail and tornadic activity. Okay, so this here is at 5 p.m. today. Looking rough along I-70, but in southern Indiana, we're watching out for these, again, discrete supercells. This is around 6 p.m. Still near that warm front, still looking at the potential for these cells firing up. And look at the colors here. That indicates large hail potential, and that is along I-70. So my friends and family in Indianapolis need also to have a heads up for that. And then those are some big bad storms up around I-70 in Indianapolis as well. So it does look like somewhere between, I would say, the Ohio River or Interstate 64, around that area, and I-70, there's going to be a zone of, some bad storms. So a bad deal there. So that we're going to extra alert in that area especially. Good for you if you're farther south of Louisville. You're going to be farther away from the threat. Now we go to 8 p.m. Still banging with these thunderstorms here in central Indiana. Hopefully the threat over southern Indiana is diminishing as the warm front lifts farther north. And then this is at 9 p.m. And I'm saying, by 9 p.m., we'll probably start to see the instability wane or decrease and that threat diminishing. So that's the warm front. Then we're going to have a cold front move in during the late night hours. And with that, I think we'll have mostly non-severe thunderstorms moving through. So this is around midnight, that cold front moving through. So it's kind of a 1-2 sort of punch, the biggest punch with a warm front late afternoon. And then the cold front swings through midnight-ish with maybe a line of some showers and thunderstorms. Number 2 with the cold front, not as strong as number 1 is. So that's the timing with the HRRR high resolution rapid refresh weather model. Let me get back to when it's kind of firing up here in the late afternoon. Let me see if it's got wind gust potential out of this. The surface winds aren't strong. The winds are going to be coming from maximum hail size. Let's see if we get something to fire up with this product. It's not showing anything crazy with that. Let me see if there's the lightning product here. It's kind of concentrated around I-70, but that's a little bit misleading. Let me add on to here the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. This is another model that updates very frequently. It's high resolution. It is convective allowing. It's a convective amount allowing model, which means it's got a small enough grid space that it uses for its resolution that can pick up thunderstorm development, where the other weather models, we talk about GFS, the Euro, the Canadian, the grid space that it uses for its data ingestion is larger and it can't pick up on convection or thunderstorms. So just a quick explainer there, but let's get back to the maps here. So this is what's happening basically right now as we go into the future. We're at a decent amount of dry time through much of today. This is around 2 p.m. Here's a look at 4 o'clock today. It is not as aggressive, and it's a little bit later as well. This is around 5 p.m. with the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. And then this is at 6 p.m. And then here is around 7 p.m. So, if you're comparing and contrasting, the HRRR may be an hour or two ahead of the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. Either way, I'm giving that window of around 3 to 9 p.m. to be extra weather aware for today. All right. So, and then this is at around 8 o'clock. It is showing that zone here under the enhanced risk to go along with the Storm Prediction Center's forecast and the potential of a significant tornado in that area. So there you go. That is kind of centered along Highway 50 in Indiana. Again, North Vernon over to Seymour, to Brownstown, and to the Mitchell and Bedford area. Give or take north or south a few counties, and that's kind of the bullseye zone for our late afternoon and into the evening time chance of severe weather. Once we get that warm front, so there's the warm front lifting north. This is around 10 p.m. So after that 9 p.m. time frame I'm telling you about, that's the warm front right there lifting to the northeast. Then I think the severe weather threat rapidly diminishes. And then notice as we head through the late night hours, again around midnight or a little bit later, there still might be some rumbles of thunder. This is the cold front then moving through, and this could continue to bring in some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the late night hours. But that secondary punch, that cold front, doesn't look as bad with that. So I hope that makes sense there. Okay. We're timing it out. We're doing it all here this morning, and we're on a little bit earlier here at 9:43. Just looking at some comments here. Good morning from Lonnie and Jamie from Scottsburg, Indiana. Michael saying, I hope this doesn't indicate a longer storm season. Well, it's getting started a little bit early, but we can have tornadoes in any month of the year. And Karen Razor watching from Montgomery, Alabama, praying the weather isn't as severe as they're predicting today. I always hope that and pray that for sure. Looks like we got a little spammer in here. I'm going to block that user right there. They are blocked. Sorry that they were in the chat. Okay. Hopefully that blocked. Let me see. I might have to try it again. All right, trying to get them out of here. They're clogging up the feed. Block user. Wasting my time with the bots. Okay, it says it was blocked. Okay, good. Well, that is annoying when that happens. All right, well, Lillian Lasley, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in here. So we might have some extra folks popping in at around 10 a.m. That's typically when I start our live stream show every morning. So that is what we're looking at here for timing, for the threats that we covered. But I also want to very quickly as well, we'll look at some current conditions out there. And we will a pretty cool shot here, actually. Let me bring this up. This is a look at some of the fog on the Ohio River this morning. So that's a pretty cool view there. We got some low clouds. We got some fog out there with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. I'm doing a refresh on extolmag.com/weather. There's my live stream. There's a goofy weather person there. If you want to subscribe, I appreciate that. 61 degrees, so not going to be hard to hit the low 70s today. The winds aren't going to be too strong at around 5 to 15. They will be strong if you get a supercell, of course. I've got the brand new weather story on there, which again, that slight risk has been upgraded to an enhanced risk, 3 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center for Southern Indiana. There's our regional and national weather maps. If we get any watches or warnings, they'll be posted right there immediately as well. We also have these maps, which have storm tracks on them. If we do get some strong thunderstorms, you will see on this right here, Storm Track. You can actually just click on the icon, and it will tell you where the storm is going, if it has circulation. You can be your own meteorologist right here as the system develops and moves our direction later on this afternoon. There's a lot of tools for you to use right there if you would like. So definitely a good resource here, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at extolmag.com/weather. And rapidly, I want to thank our partners because we can't do this without them. And almost a year ago in March, we had a hailstorm over southern Indiana. There was a tree through my mom's roof. Lions Roofing helped with that. And they can help you too. If you want to get a free estimate, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, your home, you can call them 812-294-3595 and get free quotes here at lionsroofingco.com. Hey, throughout the Commonwealth, Clogbusters with a Z, you can see right there. This is their website, clogbustersplumbing.com, clearing the way one flush at a time. You can get hooked up and message them right in the bottom right-hand corner. You can see that message screen right there. You can call them 859-762-1214. And I visited Grantline Nursery and Garden Center. Lovely warm weather out there today. Unfortunately, we pay the price with that storm chance. Would love it if the hail avoids their 16 greenhouses. But if you want some landscaping services, or if you want to get the pansies are in business. You can call them 812-269-1217 or stop by their awesome place there on Grantline Road. I want to thank our partners here at Ivy Tech Community College, powering our workforce here in Southern Indiana. You can go to ivytech.edu, go to campuses, go to Sellersburg. And ahead of time, if you want to get some real extra help and one-on-one, face-to-face interaction and get the tour, learn everything about it, career coaching, how to pay for it, how to sign up, how to register. You can do all that by registering there with Tuesdays at the Tech. Very easy to do. They're friendly folks. Don't be afraid to level up your career. Also, I want to thank my buddy here, Michael Long. Hopefully things don't get crazy. He'll get crazy busy if they do with the severe weather. amfam.com. Search Michael Long. If you want to get a quote, several ways to save here, as he has done for our family, 812-578-3072. Again, thanks to all of our partners here on the show this morning. Again, we are talking about the enhanced risk of severe weather. This is a recent update here. That orange area is the enhanced risk. That is right slapped over southern Indiana, unfortunately. That's level 3 out of 5. We don't get enhanced risk all that often. Of course, it gets worse if you get a moderate risk from the Storm Prediction Center or a high risk from the Storm Prediction Center. But enhanced is enough to really perk you up and be extra alert. So that's why we're talking about that. Debbie Cheatham, thanks for watching here this morning. And looking at some other comments here. Lillian had some rain this morning. Actually, we can take a look at that, and then we'll dig into the forecast here in more detail. By the way, if you ever want to reach me, you can always contact me, ben@extolmag.com, for any weather questions or any advertising and marketing solutions here on Extol Weather and Extol Media. Just a reminder there. Let me get back to, again, since we were talking about some rain and what's happening around the area, let me bring up the live radar scan, which we haven't had a chance to look at much live radar on the show. And there's not a whole lot happening at this time. Oops, let me get rid of my little drawing here. As there's just been a couple spotty showers off to the northeast so far this morning. Let me pop up the RadSat, and it looks like things are starting to get going out to the west over Missouri with some, actually a tornado. Look at that. Look at, there's a tornado warning already this morning up here north of Kokomo, Indiana. No, sorry, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. Sorry, severe thunderstorm warning there. Behind that's a special weather statement. All right, correct myself. So anyway, early this morning, severe thunderstorm warning already with the potential of some strong winds there near Logansport, Indiana. Another one popping up. So, but this is a good thing that this is a good example that we could see in our area. These are what I'm talking about as discrete supercells. They're kind of isolated and they can spin very quickly. That's what we got to watch for in our zone here in southern Indiana. We've got the enhanced risk. So that's what we're going to need to really keep an eye on later today. But even surrounding that enhanced risk, there's going to be the potential for some big bad thunderstorms as well. So do what you need to do to be prepared, have things ready to go in your place of shelter, your safe place. That is, of course, your basement or the lowest level of your home, away from the doors and the windows. If you live in a mobile home, you want to find a sturdier shelter. So the warm front is going to be lifting into our area, and that is going to be the culprit for severe weather. Let me bring up something else here, and then we'll look at some of our other forecast products. This is look at the temperature map, but what I'm really wanting to look at is some of the dew points. So we're in the 50s and 60s right now. I think, let me see here. Instead of that, here is should pop up the dew points here in just a second. We've got the live radar scan up here as well. But it looks like you're probably going to feel maybe a little bit of mugginess, and that's not good when those dew points head into the upper 50s, low 60s. So dew points right now at 57. That's why we have some of that fog out there. We're getting an increase in the moisture levels, and I think we'll probably see some dew points heading our direction in the low 60s today, and that is one of the ingredients for severe weather. Let me go back to our future cast here with the HRRR, and I'm going to look at the dew point map. In the green there is your moisture levels as we head into the afternoon. And it's kind of a dry line out to the west, low pressure system. This is kind of a wicked low pressure system out here. And you can see that it's swirling. This is super dry air behind it. This is our muggy air, especially for this time of the year. That's where we see dew points hovering around 60. That is enough to power some strong thunderstorms. And then here comes, by late afternoon into the evening time, look at that contrast here. So Missouri by late afternoon, dew points in the 20s out ahead of it. dew points around 60 degrees. So a dynamic storm system is going to be moving through our area later today. Let's just be ready for it. All right. Okay, let's get back to some of my forecast graphics. It's now 9:53. I got to kind of wrap up probably around 10:15, 10:30. I've got a weather talk that I'm giving to Leadership Southern Indiana this morning in Jeffersonville. And then later on this afternoon, we'll probably pop back on and do another live as we have the severe weather threat heading our way. Barbara Rainbolt, thank you for tuning in this morning. Better chance for quick spin-ups or long track tornadoes. Now, in general, quick spin-ups is a general rule when we have a setup like this, but unfortunately, as I showed earlier, there is a zone in Indiana in the enhanced risk that has the potential for significant tornadoes, unfortunately. So we do have to watch out for that. There could be an isolated long track tornado. Hate to say it, but it is what it is here for us, unfortunately. I'm trying to see if I've got that product on here. Not on that one. Bear with me here. None of them. We'll look at some other products here in just a second as well. But again, just getting to some of your comments and stuff. But Zach, good question there. Most unstable Cape. It's getting higher than what we wanted. So that is the bad news. A couple days ago, the Cape didn't look too bad, didn't look like a big deal. And then now we're talking 1,000 joules per kilogram. That is more than enough. And unfortunately, the storm relative helicity, the spin that these storms can use, is getting off the charts along this warm front. We're getting a bad combo with this here later this afternoon. The ingredients for severe weather have been increasing, unfortunately, especially for areas along the Ohio River north to Indianapolis. Somewhere in that southern half of Indiana zone especially has that higher threat of severe storms today. And again, we're getting some more people popping in than usual with the severe weather threat. As Zach was mentioning, this is the zone from the Storm Prediction Center that is highlighting the area of a significant tornado threat. And then this is the probability of a tornado. In the yellow is a 10% chance within a 25-mile circle in that yellow area. So that is it is significant. It is something that we need to pay attention to. And there's the hail threat around the region. They go hand in hand, hail and tornado threat. And all right, let me get rid of that. We talked a lot about that. We timed out the storms. There is the updated risk from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, I think around 3 p.m. until 9 p.m., our main threat timeline we need to keep an eye out on. Strong winds, damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. If we get a supercell over your area, these are the threats: large hail, tornado, heavy rain, and frequent lightning and thunder. This is a snapshot at around 3 p.m. with the HER weather model. It's a big give or take, though, because the NAM was a little bit later, say like 5 or 6. The HER was a little bit quicker, so we'll keep an eye on that. We were just talking about the ingredients for severe weather, kind of like baking bread. If you don't have all the right ingredients, you may not get a big outbreak. But if you have some of the ingredients in some places, like bread bubbles up in one spot maybe, it looks like that bubble up is over southern Indiana, unfortunately. Hey, just a reminder, too, since you're on here, I'll be taking the plunge, the polar bear plunge in the Deem Lake in Borden Valley. Registration 10 a.m. until 11:30. The plunge is at noon. Angie Fenton will be hosting. If you want to join us, head on out there. It'll be energizing, of course, as we'll have some chilly air moving in. There's still some ice on the lake, too. If you want to donate and help out, I've got a link on my page that I posted yesterday at about 5:30. What's up with the fog this morning? Is this going to help? It's not going to help. It doesn't even matter. It's going to scour out very quickly. It's just an indication that we've got more moisture moving in, which is not good. More moisture means just an extra ingredient for severe weather. Tim Cron's going to be on the National Weather Service call at 11 a.m. Very good. We have a great National Weather Service here locally. St. Patrick's Parade, I'll be a host. This is Saturday, March 14th in the Highlands. Just want to mention that for your calendars, and a benefit concert for Jessica's Journey Foundation featuring the wonderful Juice Box heroes, food trucks, and drinks. Melwood Art Center in Louisville, jessicasjourneyfoundation.com. Speedo? I'm not sure what that means. Not sure what that one means there. So how many days until? Time change in 17 days. Spring begins in 29 days. Thunder over Louisville in 58 days. Derby Day in 72. So all these spring-like things are heading our way. And unfortunately, a harbinger of spring is severe weather, and we're getting that potential today. And today's weather history has a lot of severe weather in it as well. In 1871, Professor Cleveland Abe, the U.S. Army Signal Service, issued the first government weather synopsis and forecast for the Great Lakes. And in 1884, severe thunderstorms spawned 60 tornadoes in the southeastern U.S., killing 420 people. We forget about these old outbreaks. They can happen any time of the year. Oh, Barb, Speedo. No. That is not happening. Very funny, but no. Shorts. 1888, violent tornado in Jefferson County, Illinois, devastated Mount Vernon, killing 24. Damaged 300 homes. 1998, 122, almost 123 degrees measured in Western Australia, the second hottest temperature on record there. In 2016, a new state wind speed record in Colorado of nearly 150 miles per hour. Wild weather we can get in February. Our stupid jokes of the day. Hey, I know it's serious stuff we're talking about, but we got to loosen it up every now and again. Here's your stupid jokes. Question. I only sing... No, it's not even a question. I only sing in the car in reverse because I'm a backup singer. These are definitely stupid today. All right, what's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One weighs a ton and the other is a little lighter. That's not bad. That's an easy one to remember for your dad joke. Dad joke compilation. What do you call a rabbit with fleas? Bugs Bunny. All right. These are nice PG jokes there. Here's your forecast today. 71 degrees, mostly cloudy, warm, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Severe weather threat, south wind at around 5 to 15, and 6:25 sunset. Our low tonight, 47. So the first punch, as I mentioned, is the warm front today. That's the biggest severe weather threat for the afternoon and early evening. And then the secondary thing is a cold front that could give us some more showers and thunderstorms around midnight, 1, 2 a.m. That should not be severe, but I think still some gusty winds with that. So kind of a 1-2 punch deal there for us. Hey, we got a ha-ha from Barb. We got a Lily and Lasley loving the jokes. Hey, and Orlean really liked the jokes today. Thank you very much. All right, so tomorrow, cooler in the 50s. It'll be a breezy day for your Friday. West wind at around 15 to 30. And February 20th is when, back in 2018, we had our first 80s on record. It is also when we have our normal highs at 50 degrees for the first time this year. Not a bad day. Sunshine returns tomorrow. I mentioned the dew points dropping. We are going to have that dry front move through. So some really drier air is going to be working in for tomorrow. That should allow the sunshine to return to the area. And we'll settle down with our weather pattern after late today's severe weather threat. 56 tomorrow, 50 Saturday. There is a slight chance for maybe a sprinkle or maybe a flurry, but GFS is an outlier on that. I think that system is going to be mostly to our south Saturday. So I would say mostly dry Saturday, and then winter-like conditions as far as temperatures are back with highs in the 30s, lows in the 20s for Sunday and Monday. We might get a couple flurries mixing in every once in a while Sunday, maybe sneaking in a flurry Monday. Tuesday's quiet and chilly, 44, and then back to normal temperatures with a rain chance next Wednesday. But kind of a cooler pattern to finish off our February. Our last February weekend is next weekend. So there's a look at the big old forecast here for us. We're up to 10:02, our typical time when we start our Ben at 10 show. But I was hopping on early because we've got a lot of weather content. Plus, I got to kick off early as I do have a weather talk that I'm giving here at around lunchtime. So let me get rid of that. Add this back up. The development this morning, the big development this morning is from, again, the Storm Prediction Center, the SPC, as they have raised the threat to an enhanced risk over much of southern Indiana. So that is that area that you see right there. Unfortunately, the avocado of the SPC risk with the green, the yellow, and the orange there. I was just going to check out here while we were chatting. I didn't get a chance to. I was hopping on real quick when they upgraded that to the enhanced. so I didn't get a chance to see what their wording was with that. And so let me see here. I'm not going to get into the dirty details of it. So what they're saying here is increasing storm development late morning, midday across eastern Missouri, maturing and increasingly surface-based storms. Surface-based is not what you want. Near and just north of I-70 corridor in southern Illinois, that we've starting to see some of that up to the north. A semi-focused zone of peak severe tornado potential may unfold generally near I-70 southward to I-64. We've talked about that. Across southern Illinois into southern Indiana this afternoon through early mid-evening. So that's why I've got that 3 to 9 p.m. time frame for you. Sufficient forcing and boundary layer warming and mixing should allow for at least isolated semi-discrete, long-lived, multi-hour supercells are plausible. This is not good news for us. That would mean if we get a long-track supercell, that could produce a raw deal for wherever that sets up. Potential for a significant tornado if that happens. Relatively possible, it says, but notably, including heightened tornado potential, a few of which could be strong, EF2 or greater. Okay, we talked about that as well. Given the limited early season moisture, the boundary layer, the surface is what they're talking about, will tend to become more hostile to surface-based storms and overall severe potential into mid to late evening. So again, I'm still keeping that 3 to 9 p.m. 3 might be a little bit early. I hope that is too early because I like all the kiddos to get home from school safely before we have any severe weather threat. And it did look like the HRRR, and the NAM weather model were starting at maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. So maybe we'll be good with that. So it might be kind of a dinner time thing as we look at this. So I didn't even get the chance to look at the SPC, but they are basically saying the exact same thing that I was saying. With the ingredients that we're looking at, the time frame that we're looking at, and the potential of a few of those stronger tornadoes in that forecast for us. So there you have it. It's a lot to talk about here. Michael Long, so thanks for keeping us informed. We'll check back when you go live later today. Yeah, planning to go live. I mean, my biggest hope is that it would be a big fat dud, and it can happen. If you lose an ingredient, it can be like a busted snow forecast. You know, we've seen that before, but can't bet on that. Just got to be ready and be prepared for the worst case scenario. So that's what we're doing here. Diana Peine, good morning. Hope you stay dry. You're kind of in that zone of some bad storms up there. So definitely watch up around I-70 in Indianapolis. Orleans saying, hope everybody's safe today. Thank you for watching here, Beverly. Appreciate you for tuning in this morning. And again, there we go. One more time, we'll do a recap, and then we'll kind of wrap things up here this morning, as I think we've covered it. I'll do a timeline once again for those of you tuning in a little bit later. Let's go back to the Futurecast. Okay, so this is a look at the threat. One more time, this is the tornado threat, and you can see that is, again, the highest right now. Now, this can shift. We can get some outliers, some discrete supercells a little south of this or a little bit north of this. So don't get too hung up on that bullseye yellow. But that is a 10% risk of a tornado, possibly a significant tornado in that area from Madison up to North Vernon, Columbus, Bloomington, Bedford, Mitchell, Brownstown, Seymour, Austin, Crothersville, Scottsburg, northern Clark County in Indiana, Salem, Paoli, French Lick, Jasper, Lagodi, Livonia, and places in between, Fredericksburg. So there you go. That's unfortunately a lot of our area under that risk. And then the Storm Prediction Center also has the significant tornado threat. That's EF2 or greater in that zone as well. We're not going to be surprised if we get a tornado watch by early afternoon. Okay, so back to the timing here. Let's go to our future radar. We'll pop back on. And since I've been talking, we may have gotten an update with the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. Let's bring up, I mean, there's so much I could show you, but just limited amount of time here. So it is picking up well on the activity there west of St. Louis. That's happening in real life as well. So the initialization with the weather model is good with this. We're going to kick this forward in time. A pretty good chunk of today is going to be dry. This is showing just a couple little cells popping up as we start to heat up. This is around 2 p.m. today. This is 3 o'clock. Here is 4 o'clock. So this is, again, what we don't want to see. This is what we would call a discrete supercell. They're kind of on their own. They can spin like a top, and they can prompt tornado warnings very quickly. So that is what we've got to watch out for. That is in the middle of the significant tornado zone from the Storm Prediction Center. Okay. Going a little further in time, kind of the heart of the system with the heavier rain, lots of lightning and thunder, and maybe some damaging winds up around Indianapolis with this weather model. And then this is at around 8 p.m., and we start to see that warm front lift to the north, and then much of our southern Indiana areas will be out of the bad severe weather threat. Still got to keep an eye on our I-70 friends up in central Indiana. But the warm front lifts to the north. And then the secondary thing is the cold front that could bring some gusty winds with some storms around midnight, or maybe midnight, 1, 2 a.m., something like that. So kind of the first punch is the biggest where we get it. The second punch is the cold front, warm front, then cold front with this dynamic system moving through our area. All right. So again, we've got a lot of the ingredients for the potential severe weather that have increased, unfortunately, over the area. Like our most unstable Cape has increased. The fuel for the storms has increased across the area, seeing some areas of over 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's more than enough to fuel the storms. The storm relative helicity, the spin for tornadic storms, is great along the warm front. Big ingredient right there. The 850 millibar winds is showing a nose of a low-level jet. That's a kicker that kicks up the storms. That's along the warm front as well. Then we have the warm front itself. We've got strong winds aloft. That's not showing up on that model, but it will on this one. Let's bring up the 500 millibar winds. Unfortunately, again, we just kind of have it all. There's a lot of ingredients here for us. Let me get rid of this. So very strong winds, 70 to 90 mile per hour winds at around 18,000 feet. So there you go. Unfortunately, we're going to have to be extra weather aware for us later on today. Lily and Lasley saying, hope everybody stays safe today. It is 10:10 now. So we're wrapping up the show. And hey, guys, if you ever want to get a hold of me, there you go. Ben at extolmag.com. If you want to learn about some advertising marketing solutions, you can email me or Jason at jason@extolmag.com or Ben at extolmag.com. Again, we're under the enhanced risk in southern Indiana. Most everybody else north of the parkways in Kentucky under a slight risk of severe storms. And that storm threat, 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. mostly. All the threats on the table that we talk about with severe weather. That's kind of a snapshot at 3 p.m. That might end up being a little bit later. All right. And we're talking about the ingredients for severe weather. The ingredients, unfortunately, are getting better and better as we look at that. Let me jump ahead if you're just popping into the 7-day forecast after today. Gradually getting chillier and chillier with our coldest days Sunday and Monday. Might sneak in a couple flurries on Sunday, and then a rain chance next Wednesday. I'm going to wrap it up with another look outside. Hope this was very helpful information for you guys to help you get ready for everything today. And there is a look at the mighty Ohio River, which has had some fog on it. That fog because the cold Ohio River temperatures and the increasing moisture and the warmth over the top of it. You get an inversion and you get the fog on the river. So you have this warm up over the top of icy cold Ohio River, and you're going to get a little bit of that fog out there this morning. That is not going to influence our severe weather threat for today. You can always get your weather resources here at extolmag.com/weather as well. We've got our live stream up. We'll have it up later today as well if we end up going on. 61 degrees our current temperature. We've got the brand new 7-day forecast, the brand new weather story, your watches and warnings. These maps have your watches and warnings as well. Along with, if you click on this little storm icon, it'll give you storm tracks. You can click on the storm track. Look at that. It tells you where the storm is going, the direction, the speed, and the towns that are in the way of that storm. So we'll be looking at that later today as well. Okay, Our partners here at Lions Roofing, 812-294-3595, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. They'll be watching this storm very closely. These storms can make them very busy. LionsRoofingCO.com. And Clogbusters with a Z, plumbing services, clearing the way one flush at a time. They got you covered throughout the Commonwealth. They've got the service vehicles to get to your place, 859-762-1214. Great folks there. Grant Line Nursery and Garden Center. I got to pop in there yesterday. You may have saw my reel yesterday. It's time for pansies. Time to get those pansies already and get those potted out there. They can handle some of the chilly weather. And if you want to get landscaping needs, they can help you out. 812-269-1271 right there along Grant Line Road. And powering the workforce in Southern Indiana and maybe up in your career, or if you want to change in the career, or you want college credit in high school, they got you covered here. Ivy Tech Community College, right out of Sellersburg, Indiana. You can get that one-on-one information with Tuesdays at the Tech. I want to thank my buddy Michael Long. He popped on our show today. This is amfam.com. Search Michael Long. It'll take you to his page that we're seeing right here. You can also call him 812-578-3072. You might find some ways to save, as our family has. And my buddy, we weren't able to get him on yesterday. He's at a building conference in Florida. Not feeling bad for him, but this is Brad Weddington with Weddington Custom Homes. If you're ready to build your dream home, you can go to WeddingtonCustomHomes.com. Also, our friends here at Libs Paving. They're the biggest asphalt paving contractor around. I help them with their forecast, but you can help them if you want to find a new career here in this new year of 2026. There's opportunities here online. You can apply now. You can just go to that careers section right there. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show today. Linda Baker saying thanks and stay safe. Mary Dale saying thank you as well. Let's hope it doesn't get too busy later on today. My son's got the good old type A flu. I'm going to be checking on him a little bit later after my weather talk at Leadership Southern Indiana. And then I'll be keeping an eye on the radar. If we need to pop on, I will. Hopefully the Starlink internet at home works very well with the potential storms. But we're going to do what we can to keep you updated here later on today. Again, do not be surprised if you see a tornado watch being issued later on this afternoon. And just be prepared. Seek shelter. If a warning is issued, that's the only thing we can all do to stay safe. All right. Definitely stay safe. And thanks for tuning in here, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time. Well, not at the same time. We were on earlier today around 9:20. The same normal time at 10 a.m. Thanks for liking or sharing. You can always find my content right here at Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine. Thanks for liking, sharing, following, subscribing. Extol Media on YouTube is where our live stream is. Extol Weather on Facebook and extolmag.com/weather on the World Wide Web. All right, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow or maybe later this afternoon.